What if your bladder leakage isn't only a pelvic floor problem? One of the most important things that authentic myofascial work has taught me is that where your symptoms show up isn't necessarily where the entire problem is. The body functions as an interconnected structure, head to toe. Your feet and lower legs do influence the position and movement of your pelvis. Your pelvis and sacrum create the foundation for your spine and trunk, and above that sit your abdominal wall, rib cage, diaphragm, shoulder girdle, neck, jaw, and head. So change the foundation and the body may have to adapt above it. This is something that we talk about frequently with chronic neck pain, for example. Pelvic malalignment or an unlevel sacral base, your lower leg mechanics, your foot mechanics, thoracic restrictions, stress eating, TMJ, dysfunction, fascial restrictions, and trauma can all affect how the body organizes itself. And the neck may be where someone hurts, but repeatedly treating the neck without considering the structure supporting it can mean that we're continuing to just symptom treat rather than asking why is that maintaining pattern happening. So looking at leakage through the same lens, your pelvic floor sits directly within that foundation. It attaches to bony pelvic alignment and structures that work within this three-dimensional web of tissue, muscles, nerves, joints, and organs. Its function is influenced by what's happening all around it. If your pelvis or sacral base is asymmetrical in any way, your hips and lower legs move differently, and your feet also alter the way that you accept load from the ground, or fascial restrictions can change mobility through your pelvis and trunk. Your body may adapt and develop compensations. Those compensations can start to travel through the kinetic chain, and your rib cage may change position, your breathing mechanics can change. Our abdominal wall may manage pressure differently, and the relationship between your diaphragm and your pelvic floor may then be altered. That becomes especially important when we talk about intra-abdominal pressures. So when you cough or sneeze or laugh, lift, run, jump, pressure in your abdomen rises rapidly. Continence requires the bladder, urethra, nervous system, connective tissues, abdominal wall, diaphragm, and pelvic floor all to coordinate that pressure. It's a lot. Your pelvic floor needs to be able to respond at the appropriate time, then to be able to release again. So when someone leaks, I don't automatically assume, oh, your pelvic floor is weak, do more Kegels, because strength is only one piece. A pelvic floor can also be restricted or overactive. It may need or have difficulty lengthening. The timing can be delayed. Pressure may be managed, not be managed efficiently. So the surrounding fascial system may have restrictions that influence movement through the pelvis. This is where another concept from authentic myofascial work becomes so key. Bones are levers. They're passive structures. Their position and movement are influenced by the balance of muscles, connective tissues, and forces surrounding them. So fascia doesn't exist as a collection of completely separate pieces. It forms this three-dimensional connective webbing of tissue, and it continues throughout your entire body. So mechanical forces can be sent through these tissues, which is one reason I care what's happening beyond the exact location of your symptoms. Simply strengthening one muscle without considering the environment that muscle is functioning within may not address the entire problem, and you get quick fixes. It's similar to repeatedly heating or stretching a painful neck while never looking at the pelvis, thoracic spine, shoulder girdle, jaw, or other structures that can contribute to the mechanical pattern itself. So with bladder leakage, we need to ask a bigger question. What is your pelvic floor trying to function, or how is it trying to function in the first place? That is why we may look at your feet or your hips or your pelvis or your sacrum or your abdominal wall or your rib cage and diaphragm, your breathing, your movement patterns, your fascial restrictions, and your pelvic floor itself, of course. Because the goal isn't simply to make one muscle squeeze harder. We don't want to strengthen the dysfunction. It's to understand the cause and effect relationships within the system and help your body coordinate pressure and movement and support much more efficiently. Your bladder may be where you're noticing the symptom itself initially, but it isn't necessarily the whole story. This is a huge part of what I teach inside Conquer Continence. I'm not teaching women endless Kegels or generic advice to just strengthen your pelvic floor. I'm teaching you how to start looking at your whole body, the whole system behind your bladder leakage, so you can understand your body instead of spending years chasing one symptom. If this resonates with you, comment leak free, and I'll send you my next steps of the pelvic floor webinar. Stay tuned.